What's going on, you guys? Slim back here with a new video today, and today for you guys I have the top 5 best decks of the format. This is literally a broken record because it hasn't changed that much, but you know, we got to talk about it because it's important. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys be notified when I stream over on here and on Twitch. Links are in the description. While you're down there, consider joining my Discord community. Just an awesome place to hang out and partake in the streams. If you guys want to purchase any of the cards to build the decks that I talk about, and I always suggest that you do, use my TCG player link also in the description below. A portion of what you spend goes back to the channel, helps me out, and I appreciate it. And last but not least, if you want to further support me in the channel, consider becoming a channel member or joining my Patreon. With all that being said, you guys, top 5 decks of the format, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty much, it hasn't changed that much, but we have, I guess, like a newish deck kind of in there, and it's a deck that I always want to put on the top 5, and while it is the lowest ranked on this list, I still think it's a strategy that should be talked about, and of course it is me. Actually, it's not me, but it is Invoked Dogmatica, Invoked whatever, Alistair and Friends, featuring Shaddolls, keyword Shaddolls. Now here's why I decided to put this deck at number 5. I really wanted to put dinosaurs. Now, I'm basing this off of the LCS. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say there was some dino in there. I think there was like 1 or 2 dino lists. Correct me if I'm wrong. It didn't do as well as I expected it would. Dino is kind of format dependent. The thing I love about Dogmatica, about Alistair, about Shaddolls is I think they're good in any format. The deck is very straightforward of how to play it. The strategy is very straightforward, and honestly, Alistair is a 1-card engine. You guys already know this. Winda is a crazy card. It has the word win in its name for a reason. And we did see more players actually playing Dogmatica Shaddol Invoked than we have before in a while. And it was very refreshing to see. I think this deck will continue to do well. I don't see it really getting hit on the ban list either. I think the only card that could potentially hit is Magical Meltdown, but I don't think that will happen. If they do, they might put it to 2, they might put it to 1, but even then players will still find a way to play it. The Dogmatica engine is insane. Punishment is finally coming super, as well as Shaddol Dragon and stuff, so I'm super excited for that. I think we're going to see more and more players migrating towards a Dogmatica strategy or a Shaddol strategy with Invoked and stuff like that, because the engines just mesh together really well, and this is why you should play them. So I really think for number 5, it's a very strong deck. I know that Nadir Servant and stuff is expensive, but you can also just play Invoke Shaddol and have just as much success, because again, Winda is a broken card, Constructed is a great card, Abkalone is a great card. They all work in tandem so well with these decks. I think that the strategy is very solid. Coming in at number 4, this shouldn't surprise you guys either, but I was surprised to actually add this deck back on here based on the results, and that's actually Dragon Link. Now, every channel is going to mention Dragon Link in some shape or form, and the one thing I'll say is that the reason why Dragon Link is back is because they took a breather, they took a step back, and they came back stronger than ever. They were one of the winning decks in this LCS, and it took not only a good pilot, but also took the correct strategy to make it work. The deck never really fell off. It did lose some tools, it did lose Link Cross, it did lose its access to the Buster Sword. But take away the Buster Sword, which locks the extra deck, take away Link Ross, and they still found a strategy that still puts up a very effective board. Borreload Savage is nothing to sleep on. The rest of the board they put up is nothing to sleep on. Hieratic Seal is still a problem to this day for most decks to deal with. I think the deck is very strong, and if built correctly, if piloted correctly, if the proper cards are added to the deck, it can do a lot. And we've already seen in the hands of good players what can be done, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. I think we're going to see more players returning. Now, this is warranting if they're going to hit LP or not. I personally don't think they're actually going to hit that card, so I think that that strategy is going to be safe. If they do hit LP, it will hurt the deck. However, I have heard from some players that they can still play the deck regardless. So that's why I have Dragon Link at number 4. I'm anxious to see what strategy they come up with going forward, but I think the deck is very strong. It still has Chaos Space. It still has access to the Rocket Engine. I think that that's why this deck is so good and why you should still play it in this format. So number 4, Dragon Link. At number 3, I have Eldritch. Now, this is going to be the biggest part of the video. Eldritch variants, because there is a lot. So pure Eldritch is not really a thing. However, if you look at the deck that Jesse and Bowden played, the anti-meta strategy with just Inspector Border and Trap cards, that's the closest to pure as we're going to get. So I have that deck on there for a reason. But if you look at the other variants, we have Dragoon Eldritch, we have the 60-card pile that plays Eldritch, and then of course we have Zodiac Eldritch, which is the deck that was piloted by 2 of the 3 players that won this LCS. Zodiac Eldritch is amazing. It really is. Like, literally, you can play 15 hand traps in it. You have access to the Eldritch engine. You have access to Zeus, this deck is very strong and very effective at what it does in the format. And the thing is, Zoo is a very simple engine. It just needs one card to go. It's so simple to summon a Zoo, stack some monsters, make a Drytron going first. Going second, you can literally just summon a Zoo, stack a Borbo, attack, make a multiple material Zeus, and say good luck to your opponent. I think the deck is very well positioned when combined with Eldritch. I think pure Zoo has fallen down quite a bit, but when combined with Eldritch, when combined with other engines, the deck is very strong. Eldritch by itself has basically replaced Invoked as like one of the most splashable engines. I love Invoked to death, but Eldritch is insane. Look at all the strategies that have come out with Eldritch. Like the 60 card pile deck, even though we don't see it as much, it's still a very strong strategy because you're playing all the Eldritch cards, you're playing the Dragoon engine, you're playing all these things all together in tandem, and it's amazing. I really think that going forward, Eldritch is going to be just a very notable foe in the format, even more so. We also have the Numeron Eldritch Dragoon deck, the Numeron Eldritch decks, the decks that everyone forgets. People forget about the Numeron engine, they forget about all the other strategies that can be included with Eldritch, but I think it's a very strong engine, and I think it's something we definitely should not sleep on, because Eldritch, whatever variant you want to talk about, is going to be there, and it's going to come up and surprise you in any format. So I highly suggest that you guys prepare for Eldritch in every shape or form. You see Eldritch cards, you don't know what strategy it is, just realize Eldritch is here to stay. And even if the cards, if Sanguine or Curse Eldland possibly get hit on the new ban list whenever it drops, the deck is still going to be played. They're going to find a way to adapt, so definitely don't sleep on Eldritch. And then number 2 and number 1 are interchangeable, kinda. Based on this LCS, we're going to put number 2 for Drytron. Drytron was number 1 last time we did this video, and of course it changed just on representation. You guys are wondering why did it change. It's because unfortunately Drytron came out of nowhere and smacked the meta up, and because of that it got a big target on its back. Droll and Lockbird, Cycle Reader, DD Crow, Bell, Meister, all the hand traps galore, Forbidden Droplets, etc. are everywhere in players' deck. You know why? Because Drytron exists. Droll is everywhere because Drytron exists. The only reason why they're number 2 and not number 1 is because players are more prepared for it now than ever. They were not prepared before it, now they are. Drytron's still very strong, still very good at what it does. Looping Ben 10 is crazy. That's the card everyone thinks is going to get hit on our upcoming list, whether to 1 or to 0. That's neither here nor there, but just know that Drytron is still easily one of the best decks. It's extremely consistent. I don't know if that's stressed enough. Have you guys actually played with the Drytron cards? Have you ever actually played and seen how consistent that deck is at what it wants to do? The deck is very strong, and even though players are more prepared for it now, you cannot deny that its strategy is very strong, and its ability to put up Herald of Ultimateness as well as a Vanity's Ruler, if they're still playing that variant, is very strong. Not only that, you can migrate over to the Megalith build, which is very strong as well. That topped this LCS, and I think both strategies, either or, are very strong, and I definitely see Drytron doing more in the upcoming formats. Also, when they get their new, I think, Link or whatever it was that's coming out, I think the deck is going to do more. So for that reason, definitely have Drytron at number 2. It technically could have been number 1, but the number 1 deck basically just outmuscled it as far as representation and its strategy, and just how many players really just migrated towards that deck because they felt it was safer. But Drytron is definitely number 2, and of course number 1 is Virtual World. You guys already know this. Like I said, I'm keeping it straight to the point. Virtual World is cheap. Deck's cheap. It just got new support. It just got 2/2 and the new trap card as one-ofs to add to the deck to up the consistency. This deck is VFD Turbo. This deck does everything it wants to do. It can lose to itself, but when it doesn't, the deck is insane. Like, literally, the fact that you can put up double VFD or even a single VFD with the trap is nuts. The new trap card gives you a Monster Reborn. It gives you extension. The new level 6 can be normal summoned. You have a lot of strategies you can do and a lot more plays you can do to get to Calamities more consistently than you could before. And I feel that more and more players decided to migrate back towards Virtual World over Drytron because they knew how many people were prepared for the Drytron matchup. And there are more cards that counter Drytron than there are that counter Virtual World. Calamities is a pain. If you don't have a Forbidden Droplet and you aren't able to knock out the trap as well as the Calamities, you're still going to fall under Calamities because the Calamities will literally send the VFD if you don't send the proper card for Droplet, and you're still locked out regardless of what you do. So I think VFD is a very strong card. Will it get hit on the list? Hopefully. But even then, I think Virtual World could be a very strong standalone deck minus VFD. It could just do other things. The hand loop is viable. It did top. If you guys didn't know that the hand loop variant did top, so you can play things like Gotems, and you can play Inner Blathnir and other stuff like that, and loop cards out of your opponent's hand. So don't think that even if VFD does get hit, that the deck is going to fall by the wayside. I think Virtual World is very strong. I think it's here to stay, and I think the only hits that make sense are to actually approach the extra deck and take care of VFD, and then the deck will have to play on its own merits. But that's the top 5 decks, you guys. I'm not going to sit here and waste your time and tell you anything else. To me, those are the top 5 decks. I know Invoke, Dogmatica, Shaddoll, whatever you want to call it, could be replaced with Dinos or something else. But to me, I think Shaddolls added with Invoke just have a really good synergy against the format. Again, we're basing this off of the LCS, and we've seen the success that the deck brought to the table. Wind is a very powerful strategy along with Makaba and stuff like that, so it does make for a very strong deck in the format. But those are the decks, you guys. Let me know down in the comments below what you think are the top 5 decks of the format. Did I hit them all? Did I forget some? Is there one that you would put higher than some of the ones I put on this list? Definitely leave that down in the comments below if you agree or disagree, and definitely give me your feedback in the comments as well as to what deck you're playing and how you think it will position itself in the format. But that's everything for today, you guys. Give the video a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed. Really do appreciate it. You guys have been killing it lately, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next video, which will probably be our ban list prediction, so look forward to that. We did that on stream, so it was really awesome. But thank you guys for all your support, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.